Hello everyone, hopefully everyone's having a great 2023. I'm back with another IEM review. This is of the 7th Acoustics Supernova. So without further ado, let's look at the graph. So we have a 5 dB bass boost, a few decibels in the mid bass, pretty lean lower mids, good upper mid range, and then the treble doesn't really drop off and it extends. There you go. Now let's talk about the actual IEMs. Here it is. Talk about the build. It's really good. Shell, 3D printed. Looks absolutely amazing. The camera probably won't do it justice, but looks amazing. So yeah, the build is really good. No complaints. It has the proper amount of weight. Doesn't feel too cheap. And then the fit is pretty perfect. Just molds to my ear. Fits like a glove. It is slightly big, but I didn't have an issue with how it fit. And I do have small to medium sized ears. So yeah, good build, good fit. No complaints. And now let's talk about the sound quality. So starting off with the bass, this has a calm and well-controlled bass. Has the right amount of punch to it. It's precise, clean, clear. It doesn't have that contrasty bass where your focus goes directly onto the bass. This takes a more mature and balanced approach to things. And overall, the bass does blend in perfectly with the rest of the mix, and it sounds coherent, is what I picked up on pretty quickly. So yeah, as you guys saw from the frequency graph, this does have sub-bass over mid-bass. So if you love mid-bass, or if you want a lot of mid-bass, this is probably not the right IEM for you. And then BA bass, yeah, maybe it has a little bit of BA bass, but honestly, it doesn't matter to me as long as the bass sounds good. But if you are a bass head and you want that bouncy texture in the bass or that bouncy effect, this isn't going to give you that. And there's probably two reasons for this. One, it could be because it's a BA, and two is there's just not that much boost in the sub bass. But yeah, I mean, the quality of the drivers they're using in here are really good. They're Sonion and Knowles. Sonion for the bass, I believe. Yeah, like a vented one. So good bass. Has just the right amount of bass I like in an IEM. It's well balanced. Clean and controlled. Not too much bass. And now let's talk about the mid-range. So this is a really unique IEM in the mid-range, because most IEMs go for that peak around 3K or that valley, like a mountain. But this doesn't do that. This actually measures flat in the upper mid-range. And that is unique and all, but how does it sound? I'm going to tell you right now, it sounds amazing. One of the best upper mid-ranges, if not the best upper mid-range I've ever heard. Because it's not overly shouty, and it's never recessed. So when you're listening to vocalists like Taylor Swift, Halsey, The Weeknd, Adele, the male voices are always going to be full-bodied and forward. Female voices are just going to shine, come across crystal clear. And the gain on this IEM is probably just the perfect amount. So this is what I perceive as neutral in the upper mid-range. And the balance is so good between the lower mids and the mid-bass to the upper mid-range that it just sounds perfectly in sync. Yeah, so this is a really special IEM for me because I'm getting an amazing tonality. Any voice I play through here sounds close to the song I'm playing, close to how it was recorded. So I really can't find a fault in it. From the bass to the upper mid-range, just seamlessly done. And this is a true all-rounder. So I was playing Victory, Never Give Up on Your Dreams, some pop, rap, everything. And this didn't struggle with any genre. And usually when an IEM doesn't struggle with a particular genre, that's how you know it's an amazing IEM. So yeah, like instruments, if you listen to a piano, it won't be too warm. It just sounds neutral. It has a good weight, good note weight on the pianos. Sounds accurate, clean, precise. Very good. I will say the timbre on this, maybe there's a slight bit of BA timbre. Very slightly, if I'm being really critical. But overall, it's perfect timbre. And yeah, when you have good timbre and good tonality, that makes up for an amazing IEM most of the times. And then, yeah, I mean, I was listening to Red by Taylor Swift. Her voice always sounded lively, clear, never thin, never recessed, just perfect. Just the right amount of gain. And then onto the treble. So let's say you're listening to very airy instruments like flutes, trumpets, drums, where you want to hear that hand smack on the drum. This does it all. So I will say the treble is very well extended and clear. Much better than a lot of the IEMs in the $500 price point. You can see it on the graph, and it is audible. So yeah, when I'm listening to a trumpet, I get that airy sound. But the harmonics in the highest octaves of the treble, they're not overly done. So it still sounds a little more calmer and composed on the neutral side. And then flutes have good amounts of air. They're clear. There's nothing wrong with how instruments sound. They sound correct. One thing is, even though this IEM has amazing treble, it's not the best I've heard. There is maybe one IEM that has better treble, and it's really obvious when I'm listening to drums and those hand smacking on the instruments and those very, very high notes. But instead, this is a very, very smooth sound. No issues. I will say one thing though. If you're sensitive to like the 6, 7, 8K regions, this is slightly more pronounced than some IEM. But for me, I had no issues because here's the thing. Even with that treble, it never sounds metallic. It never sounds rough. It's just smooth 99% of the time. But if you want even better treble than this, just know you're going to have to spend more. So yeah, instruments, everything just sounds correct. When I'm listening to Victory and Never Give Up on Your Dreams, it just sounds so smooth. The instruments just sound clear. And you just get lost in the music. And sometimes when I'm listening to really, really good IEMs, It's almost like the IEMs don't even exist. It's like I'm just listening to music. And this did give me a little bit of that sensation. That's always a good thing. And now let's talk about the soundstage and imaging. So I wouldn't say this IEM sounds boxed in. You get a decent sense of space. Instrument placement is correct. Everything is where it needs to be. And yeah, I'd say it's slightly above average soundstage for the price. I do get a really good open sound. And fit does have a role to play with how well the soundstage is. Because if you can't feel the IEM and it's just sitting there perfectly, you might get a better sense of space. Less closed in. And this does have a vent, I believe, here. I'm not sure if that's a vent, but basically I don't get really any pressure buildup. It's just very comfortable. Sits right in my ear. And stack tips weren't really useful for me, so I put these SpinFit W1s on, and it's just a perfect match for this IEM. And then the imaging, I'd say the imaging is really good. It is close to pinpoint imaging. It's just maybe missing a letter grade in the imaging, or half a letter grade, about. But yeah, the channel matching is pretty perfect between the right and left. And when instruments are playing in turn, things are panning, things are going right everywhere. This IEM just did an amazing job. I could pinpoint everything when I'm listening to guitars, where the sound is coming from in the mix. I could just pinpoint it. So yeah, overall, this IEM does a lot of things right. I would actually be really surprised if someone had a issue with the way this IEM sounded. Just a well all-rounder. Doesn't do much wrong. And this IEM does have like a chamber, I believe, so it reduces the 8K peak. And I think that's exactly what it does. It lends itself to this beautifully airy sound. There's never any peaks. It's just like I'm focused in on the music, the instruments, the singer. And it's just a joy to listen to. So overall, this is just a very unique IEM. I haven't heard anything like this. And a lot of IEMs I'm getting tired of. They're just not that good. Or it's just the same thing over and over again. But, I mean, which other IEM do you know that measures flat in the upper mid-range? Flat. So somehow they pulled that off with the very smooth treble, good bass, not too much, just enough for it to be fun. So yeah, if you want like a fun sounding set, this is probably not it. It's not a bass headset. This is more for a cleaner sound, more accurate. So overall, technical performance-wise, if I had to rate the tone, I think I'd give it an S+. So this is the only IEM I've heard that actually gets an S+ tonality from me. And I'll explain why. It's because the treble is just smooth. And then the upper mid-range just has a perfect amount of gain. So any voice you play through here won't sound thin, won't sound recessed, won't sound shouty. It's just like perfect tone. So I give it a S+ for the tonality. And then for the technical performance, I'd give it an A+, or even a little more than an A+. So overall, this is just an exceptional IEM. It does what it's supposed to do. It sounds like how it grabs. And when you're paying this much for an IEM, you want better treble. You want good technical performance. You want good tonality. And compared to a lot of $500 IEMs, this just sounds much better. Especially in the treble. Is where I notice a big difference. So all in all, for the price, it just performs. It's worth the money. You're getting what you're paying for. And if I had to say a few cons, I guess it would be maybe the bass could be a little more pronounced. Because it doesn't have that much bass. Maybe it could use a little more bass. But for me, that's fine. And then another small nitpick I have is I wish the treble was a little smoother. Because there is one IEM I heard that has even smoother treble and even more airy. But I mean, under $1,000, amazing treble. It does compete with some IEMs that cost around $1,000 in the treble. So it's not ridiculous with the amount of money they're asking for. It sounds in line. And the drivers are very well meshed in together. Where the sound and the song just sound in sync. Very focused. I'm getting a clean separation between the singer and the musicians. And to get that with good tuning, that's absolutely phenomenal. So out of 5 stars, I'll give this a 5 out of 5. Just ticks the right boxes for me with the sound, the fit, the overall performance, the tuning, just very unique. And they have some special technologies going on in here. So overall, this does get my highest recommendation. And I will make another video comparing this with a few other IEMs that are in the similar ballpark as this. So stay tuned for that. I should be dropping that video in the next couple of days whenever I have time. So yeah, other than that, like, comment, and subscribe. Take care, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.